Welcome back, pupils. What have you been up to since we last met? I hope that you have been keeping safe, and I also hope that you have spent some time to revisit the topics that we have done so far in our comprehension classes. Today, we would be learning about point of view or writer's point of view. Now, point of view describes the position of the narrator of a story. The author's point of view reflects his or her attitude, opinion, or beliefs about the topic. The main types of point of view are first and third person, and we will be looking at those a little more. In the first person, the narrator is the character of the story, and the words I and we are also used. In third person, the narrator is not a character in the story, but is removed from the action and functions as an observer. So they are literally telling you something that happened to someone else or someone else's experience. Even though the first and third person point of view are the two most popular styles of reading and writing that is used, there is also the second person point of view, which is rare and concentrates on the use of words such as you and your. Now let's get into some examples of the first person point of view. You can follow as I read, or you could read along. I think that volunteering at the hospital is rewarding. Teenage volunteers like myself can deliver meals, visit patients, and run errands. So let's benefit our community and ourselves by volunteering today. I'll read that again. I think that volunteering at the hospital is rewarding. Teenage volunteers like myself can deliver meals, visit patients, and run errands. So let's benefit our community and ourselves by volunteering today. Now from that little extract, can you identify which of the point of views was used? Remember, we have the two popular ones, first and third person, but we also have second person point of view. Which one was used? The point of view used in this extract is the first person point of view. As you would have seen, the words I, myself were used. Ourself also indicates that the writer was involved or did include themselves in this extract. Now let's look at another example. The stepsisters took an immediate dislike to Cinderella. She was undeniably beautiful and thus a threat to their chances of snaring the prince. But she also rather full of herself, and what better way to bring her down a peg or two than by passing on worse chores to her. I'll read that again. The stepsisters took an immediate dislike to Cinderella. She was undeniably beautiful and thus a threat to their chances of snaring the prince. But she also rather full of herself, and what better way to bring her down a peg or two than by passing on worse chores to her. Now, in this extract, who is the narrator? Can you identify the person? Was this person a character in the story? Think about it. No, the narrator was not a character in the story, and therefore this extract was written in or from the third person's point of view. Now there you had the two examples that I shared with you. Now I have a few activities which I'll give you a few seconds, maybe a minute, to think about it and see if you could identify the point of view from which these stories were written. Let's go. Can't sleep. It was time for Sean to get some rest. His very first day of first grade was tomorrow. Sean was too excited to sleep. His mom told him he needed to try to sleep. So he hopped into bed. Sean laid on bed for a little while, staring at the wall. That didn't help. He tried to count sheep in his head. That didn't work either. Sean was just too excited to sleep. He wished it was morning right now so that he could go to school. Now you take a few seconds and read the story back for yourself. Now, can you tell me what point of view is this story told in? Yes, the point of view that the story is told in is the third person's point of view. Now, how do you know that? You could see that the author themselves is not directly involved in the story. The writer also is not a character in the story. Can you say who are the characters in this story? Yes, the names are mentioned right there, Sean and Mom. So we know that the writer of this story was not involved. Here's another one for you. This one is entitled Chores. Beth, can you please sweep the basement? My mom asked. Sure, I told her. But before I knew it, my brother came running past me. He stole the broom out of my hand. Sweeping is my chore. Beth can't sweep, he whined. Nate, I didn't ask you to sweep. I wanted you to help me dust, Mom explained. But Nate only wanted to sweep. Mom, I'll help you dust instead, I told her. Thanks, Beth. That's very sweet of you, Mom said. It was a busy day full of chores. Again, you take a few seconds and read back the story. Now answer these questions. Who said, "Thank you, Beth"? That is very sweet of you. Can you find who said that? Yes, Mom said that. Who said, "Sweeping is my chore, Beth can't sweep"? Can you identify who said that in the story? Yes, it was Nate who said that. Now, who said, "Mom, I'll help you dust instead. That was Beth. So we see that Mom, Beth, and Nate were the characters in this story. Can you say who was telling the story so we can identify from which point of view this story was written? Yes, Beth was telling the story, and therefore this story was written from the first person point of view. Were you able to identify that? I'm sure that you were able to identify those point of views of those two short stories that we looked at. Now let's review some of the things that we covered in today's session. We discussed that the point of view describes the position of the narrator in the story. We also said that the author's point of view reflects his or her attitudes, opinions, and beliefs about the topic. The main type of point of views are the first and third person, but there is also the use of the second person point of view. Stories told from or written in the first person's point of view includes the narrator as a character in the story. For those written in the third person, the narrator is not a character in the story. Usually, the narrator is telling the experience or story about someone else. In the second person point of view, which is more rare, it concentrates on the use of words such as you and yours. I hope that you found that quite interesting. And I want you to remember to find different texts that you could read or look back at some that we would have used before and try to identify the writer's point of view in those texts. It is always fun to have you join me on the literacy ladder. So I do look forward for your continued company on our next session right here on the Guyana Learning Channel. So long, everyone.
Thank you.